Welcome to the Quality Conversation brought to you by C Squared Technology, and I'm your host, Serge Boudreau. Our goal here is to define what quality means in the world of recruitment marketing. In the coming weeks, we will dig in with talent acquisition leaders, practitioners, and providers, and hopefully be able to define quality in our world. I have a very special first guest, and her name is June Agrawal. She is the Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition at Robots and Pencils, and also a friend of mine. June, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Serge. Pleasure to be here.
How about we start here? Tell me a little bit of who June is and what has been your journey into talent acquisition.
So June has overall 15 years of experience into recruiting.
Okay.
And I have lived and worked in 3 different continents. I was brought up in India. I worked there. Then I migrated to Australia, where I lived in different cities there. And then now I am here in Canada, where I'm looking the entire North American market. And I am a mother to a 15-month-old baby as well. So just returned back to work from mat leave.
How has it been coming back to work after having a baby, going through maternity leave? A lot has changed in the time that you were gone. What was your first impression of coming back into the recruitment space?
Overwhelming. What's going on? And with technology, AI, ChatGPT, oh my God, even in those 9 months, so much has changed when I stepped back into the industry. So good plus bad, both, right? Blessing and disguise both happened, managing that work-life balance. But my company, Robots and Pencil, has been really great, helped me with the transition, very smooth transition. My team has been very supportive. So it feels good.
Excellent to hear. So let's talk a little bit about quality. So obviously Robots and Pencils works heavily with tech solutions. You are a tech solution company. So from your perspective, how has AI impacted recruitment, particularly when it comes to identifying quality candidates?
Like I said, AI has been both blessing and a disguise.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues that we're currently facing because of the AI usage of ChatGPT. To give you a few examples, one has, top being is impersonation, where
Really?
where we have noticed a lot of our interviews happens over Zoom,
Okay.
and we have different stages of interview. So we have noticed there's someone else joining the first round of interview and a different face on the second round of interview.
Oh, wow. So that's happened more than once, or it's like...
It has happened a few times lately.
Wow.
So we have started asking candidates if we can record, right?
Okay.
And that's how we are tracking to make sure it's exactly the same person and the same person joins the company as well.
Is there a particular market where that's happening? Is it in North America, or is it candidates in different parts of the world?
It is happening in the parts of the world. I have spoken with a couple of my mates here in North America, Australia, UK as well. India has been the biggest one that has impacted. And I think a lot of Asian countries also because of the volume of people who are out of work, getting back to work, right? So this has been one big for us. Another thing is plagiarism, right?
Okay.
Like identical cover letters, identical resumes, exactly same resumes, exactly same, order in which they have mentioned their experience, everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, is this just like situation that happens every once in a while, or is this fairly common?
It is lately happening. And if I talk about the tech stacks, QA, quality, where there are abundance of people, right?
Yeah.
Java developers, right? There's volume. So those are some of the common where we are finding, oh my God, exactly. So 10 resumes, same to same.
Are you noticing any of the lazy apply bots where candidates are applying and when you reach out to them, they don't even remember applying? Is that a situation that you're seeing?
Yes, I think also because there are so many, it's a very employer market right now. There are so many folks out there out of employment, right? It's just easy apply, click, click, click. They apply 20 jobs at a time. And when you say we're calling from RMP, they have no idea right? So that's where we sell ourselves, okay, remind them where they have applied, reiterate ourselves what the job description is, okay, and that's how we get. But again, this one, and the second is the amount of applicants that we are getting.
Yeah,
Right?
tell me a little bit more about that. Like on average, say, because you're focused on the tech, so software developers, QA, as you just mentioned. So when you're posting a job, how many applicants are you getting on average?
So many thousands of applicants. So what we have done, once we have sufficient decent number of applicants that we have in the ATS, we close the job so that we do not receive any more applicants, because refining them is a challenge, right? Thousands of applicants, we are missing quality candidates out there. So we're using AI to filter those, but there are a lot of applicants that applied. So even 400 to 1,000 for each role. In a place like Calgary, Saskatchewan, where we do not expect, but still they are coming.
So thousands of applicants, and like full disclosure, I used to be the director of talent acquisition at Robots and Pencils. And that was not a challenge that we had 3-4 years ago when I was in the role. It was almost impossible to get 1 or 2 applicants. Obviously, the market conditions have changed and we're seeing a flip. When you said that you use AI to hopefully filter, tell me a little bit more of what that process looks like.
So we use Boolean search initially, and based on which it gives us the score. Are they aligned with what we are asking, with the skills? Okay, and the second is job description. So we can paste our job description. It gives us the top candidates. But still, those numbers are still really high. But at least from 400, if we are boiled down to 60 becomes a lot more easier for us to go through each per recruiter and try and find the qualified one and the quality, right? So at least, location, work. So we add a lot of filters in our ATS, which brings the number down.
I'm hearing from a lot of practitioners that it's a lot easier just to go find those candidates, source them, approach them directly than inbound, which has never been the case, right? Like in the past, as you posted jobs, you would get decent quality and you were able to fill most jobs with the inbound traffic if you did recruitment advertising correctly. Are you feeling the same way? Is it easier now just to go and source candidates and bring them into your funnel than just advertising the job?
100%. So even for those, we have just signed up. Actually, we're starting a free trial today for Seek Out.
Okay.
So we can go and hunt and source candidates who are more qualified and quality than the inbound that comes with numerous volume of applicants, and which is challenging for the team to actually filter, respond. And for us, Robots and Pencils, and for my team, it is very important to communicate with the candidates. We do not like candidates sitting, hundreds of applicants sitting with no response. So the response has to go out.
So tell me a little bit more of what your process is. So you have a requisition that's coming in from your team. What are the next steps? How do you advertise? What is the flow of interview? What does that look like?
So we get the request from the hiring manager. Okay, so my team works with them to discuss the job description, like an intake meeting. Okay, so we have the intake meeting followed by wherein we go post the roles. Plus, we activate our sourcing as well. Okay, where the recruiters go in to source on LinkedIn, different tools. Okay. And in terms of the process for interviews, we keep it pretty short. We have just 3 rounds of interview, including recruiter screen, technical screen, and then a final interview, followed by the go, no go, which is more like a debrief session within all the hiring partners who are involved in the interview, proceeding with an offer. Okay. So that's where, and that's where we learned so much in terms of feedback. Okay, the quality candidate plus a quality hire, right? So in each and every step, we make sure we are taking feedback. We are learning from them. Right.
What is a quality candidate to you, June? What does it look like? What skill sets? Like, what does their resume need to look like?
So in terms of quality candidate, of course, few parameters wherein we define the one that we have hired is good. The first we do is the net promoter score, okay, wherein we track after 3 months of the start to see how it has been with the hiring manager plus the candidate, or now I call as a talent itself. Okay. One is that. The second is performance review, right? Just to see how, so we are actively engaged. I am engaged, at least for the hires, just to see how they are doing for the entire year, right? Is there anything which is missing that we can take back and I can take back to my team where we can have a better hire? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Third, very important is the employee referrals. We make sure anyone who has joined is referring. So it's like a CSAT, right? Customer satisfaction, how satisfied they are to be at Robots and Pencils. Are they referring? Do they want their mates to work with us? Right. So those are the key ones where we feel, okay, now this has been a really good quality hire. And when a next similar role becomes available, we always ask, are you looking for someone like that? So that gives this thing saying, okay, fine, yes, we had a quality hire. It was a quality candidate.
It's fascinating that you're looking at quality of hire as throughout the process and the life cycle of that employee. Are you reporting on it at particular stages of 80% of our hires were deemed as quality candidates at the end of the year? How is that reported on?
So we track different kind of matrix, and one of the monthly matrix that goes to the leadership along with recruiting is the NPS score. Okay. So that defines the quality candidate or a hire. That's how we track company-wide.
So I'm very well aware that you're using Smart Recruiter because I implemented it there, and I love their net promoter score that is sent out to the hiring manager and also the candidate, and then the score is built from it. So I love that you're doing that. I'm curious, as obviously you're recruiting a lot, there's a lot of folks coming into your pipeline as you're posting jobs. When you first glance at resumes, like, what does quality look like for you? Because it's a lot harder than it used to be, because a lot, like you mentioned, all the resumes look very similar outside of leveraging tools that filter candidates. But when you're visually looking at resumes, what are you looking for? What is qualified to you or quality to you?
Of course, tech stacks. Okay, how long they have been in the industry, tech stack they have worked. Plus, one very important factor is how long they have been with an organization for. Okay. So not somebody who has jumped every 6 months, but has been a little stable and within the organization, if they had any growth, right? So have they always been just a recruiter, or they have been, they've got their hands dirty doing other things as well, different projects. But overall, just apart from the resume as well, we are moving a lot towards skills-based hiring. Okay. So we have identified within our company top skills, right, which is very important to be successful in the role, plus successful at Robots and Pencils. Okay. And like you know, we are a consulting organization, so communication, adaptability, right? That growth mindset, dealing with ambiguous environment, those are top skills that we always look for. And we ask questions around these during a recruiter screen as well, to make sure they are qualified, and then they move to the next step.
What would you say is a percentage? So you're posting a job and you're getting, like you mentioned, 1,000 applicants. Like, if you had to guess of how many are actually qualified, what would you give it? Like 1%, 10%, 50%?
Yeah, anywhere between 1 to 3%.
1 to 3%. So you're going through thousands of resumes to get to potentially 10. How much time does that take you?
So, of course, we filter, like I said, using the AI. So at least it boils down to 10%. Okay. And then filtering from 10%, doing aggressive filter search, plus looking at the resume one by one. It does take time. A number of applicants keep increasing as the days goes by as well. right?
Yeah.
Before closing it. So it further keeps adding as well.
What's the time frame that you usually have a job posted for? Is it
3 to
3
4 days.
days and you're getting 1,000 applicants?
Pretty
Really?
much depending on the kind of role. So say if it's common like front end, full stack, Java, 3 to 4 days is more than sufficient. But if you're looking for anything specific, niche kind of a role, then they are still open because or somebody with a specific visa requirement or security clearance, then it's open for longer.
So what's your thoughts on the whole job board industry right now? Do you feel like they're delivering qualified candidates to you? Are they still the main source that you're hiring from?
We're not really getting a lot of support in terms of qualified or quality candidates.
Okay.
We used to have Indeed sourcing, subscription, and a lot of different subscriptions, which we have all closed out. LinkedIn subscriptions, we are just using Recruiter Lite, but no other, just because they are very expensive. But ROI is really low. We still are struggling to find that quality, and a lot of work is done within the team manually to hire those qualified candidates. So honestly, not much.
I think we see a lot of what I call Instagram versus reality, where what the messaging is not the reality of what it is day to day in that company. And obviously that causes high turnover, many challenges, right? When it comes to your messaging, like what do you focus on? Why should someone work at Robots and Pencils? Like what do you put out there?
So it's more personalized for each candidate. Say if I'm looking at their LinkedIn, okay, so looking at the background where they have worked and what seems to be more interesting or their motivation. So aligning our message to what they are looking for. When someone looks for a job, growth is something they are looking for, right? So we always make sure working at RNP and having that, different flexibility to work on different kind of projects, different kind of products, right? We sell that piece within RNP, which excites majority of the candidates.
I love it. June, I'm going to be a little bit self-serving here, but I want to ask you a couple of questions if this would have any value to you. So say you posted the jobs and the candidates that came in were actually verified that they are who they are and they have the license or the certification that you're requiring. So let's put it in a perspective that this would be coming from the job board that you usually use, right? So instead of getting 1,000 applicants, you would get potentially 20, but they're all verified as real people with the real.
I'm going to go with that. Right.
Would you be willing to pay a little more for those applicants? And I'm not saying the price of an agency, but say your average paying, say $10 an applicant. Would you be willing to pay $50 for an applicant that is verified and qualified for that particular role?
So when I look at my cost of hire, okay, there are so much more dollars that goes because my recruiter is spending that much of time. Now, not just the cost of hire, but also from the day the job is open to time to fill. Okay, my time to fill is gonna reduce. And being in a consulting, that is giving me more revenue, right? Because I'm finding people early on, maybe even if by 2 weeks I'm saving that 2 weeks of revenue loss. Okay. Then if it is just $50 or $100, and if I compare these two, of course, anything that's going to bring more profit, increase our revenue at the end of the day, we want to go that path. And if they're qualified, then why not? Right.
Well, I think you nailed something there, because a big part of your business model is you'll get a project and you need the ability to staff it really quickly. Sometimes it's 10 days, 20 days, and every day that is delayed is lost revenue for the company. So you're in a unique situation that the rest of the business sees you as not a cost, as definitely a driver of revenue. So the tools and what you're leveraging are absolutely critical, because you have to be successful for the business to be successful. So I do want to ask you a question on what you're seeing in the future. So AI is advancing really quickly. Obviously, us recruiters, we have tools to kind of, as you mentioned, to go through resumes. We're seeing candidates leveraging tools that are applying to hundreds, thousands of jobs a day. Obviously, they're using ChatGPT to make their resume look like they're qualified for the job. There's got to be a breaking point, because at one point we're going to have bots interviewing bots. So what's your prediction? What is it going to look like 5 years from now?
It's a very interesting question. If you've asked this question 5 years ago when there was no chat GPT, it would have been very difficult. Now with 5 years, assuming the current situation, if it remains as is, because in next 5 years, so much more is going to further introduce, right? A lot of addition and subtraction is going to happen within the AI space as well. AI is going to grow, okay, but the data piece is the most challenging part. There's nothing which is private in our lives right now.
Okay.
Everything is so public, right? So with AI coming in next 5 years, all our lives will be very much public. Okay. If I come into recruiting, AI will take over. Of course, it's doing so much already with filtration, this and that. And bot interviewing a candidate is going to happen, but more towards volume kind of roles rather than niche. Okay, so maybe in a warehouse kind of an environment, or maybe to hire Java or a QA maybe. Okay, that's going to be my prediction. That's going to happen. But again, it depends on company to company and leader to leader, how much they want to leverage AI, how much they want to keep the human part in the entire process. And I am a big, big believer when it comes to interview, a human interviewing a human. That's when you get the quality. When you get the best result. So hopefully it doesn't happen in my era, because I am not going to leverage AI bot to interview someone.
Well, you might have bots interviewing bots, for all we know. It's definitely moving really quickly. I think you're right. I think the human element is going to be a competitive advantage for recruiters. And I feel the same way about sales, is right. We are become a little numb to all these outreach messages, all of these like just emails that we're getting. And is it written by a real person compared to? So I think we're going to see exactly the same in recruitment. June, this was fantastic. It's always a pleasure to spend some time with you. I love what you're doing at Robots and Pencils. And definitely, I want to keep working with you as we define what quality is in this space, because I do believe we need to get there. So, June, please come again. It's been a real pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you very much, Serge. I'm so happy that we worked together. It got a chance to connect with you, and for me having here to share my opinion and my experience in this space. Thank you very much.
Your opinion is very valid and very interesting, so I appreciate that. So, great episode of the Quality Conversation. If you want to find out more, please reach out to me directly, Serge Boudreau. You can find me on LinkedIn, or check out c-squaredtechnology.com, where you can find out of how we're trying to fix a quality equation in the recruitment advertising space. On that note, until next time.